Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. Congress is staring at one more crisis with the already frayed inter-party equations, which have come to the fore after the government announced the names of leaders who will head the all-party delegations, which will travel across the globe in the coming days to rally support for India's war against terror emanating from Pakistan and try and isolate Islamabad internationally. Now, amongst the names of those which will head the seven delegations announced by the government is Lok Sabha MP Shashi Tharoor, chairman of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on External Affairs. The government had contacted Tharoor, his Lok Sabha colleagues Manish Tiwari and Amar Singh, and also former External Affairs Minister Salman Khurshid to be part of the delegations. But soon after the government made public the names of the delegation heads, the Congress made it known that the party had suggested to the government the names of former Union Minister Anand Sharma, party's deputy leader in the Lok Sabha, Gaurav Gogoi, and MPs Syed Nasir Hussain and Amrinder Singh Raja Waring. Now, Tharoor's name was not in the list which was suggested by the Congress, and neither are the names of Manish Tiwari, Salman Khurshid, and Amrinder Raja Waring. So, and in fact, Shashi Tharoor made it clear that he would take part in the exercise in the national interest. And what he said, and I'm just going to quote, that I'm honored by the invitation of the government of India to lead an all party delegation to five key capitals to present our nation's point of view on recent events. When national interest is involved and my services are required, I will not be found wanting. Jai Hind. This is what Shashi Tharoor wrote in his post. So the big question now that is this Congress's hierarchy over center picking Tharoor for delegations abroad? And obviously, there's a lot of politics behind this, that if these were the names and if Congress had sent out certain names, then why did Prime Minister Modi or the Modi government choose to pick Tharoor? Was it to irritate Congress? But yes, Congress back in its home has a lot of questions to answer for. So let's begin the discussion. Thank you so much for joining, S. Srinivasan, sir, who's the editor-in-chief of the Federal Group. Thank you so much for joining. We have TK Rajlakshmi, who's the senior deputy editor of the Frontline magazine. Thank you so much, Rajlakshmi, and Siddharth Sharma, who's the independent media analyst. Thank you so much, Siddharth, for joining. And I'll begin with Rajlakshmi. What does the story look like, Rajlakshmi, that, Center has picked up Tharoor's name, but Tharoor's name did not figure in the list of the list which was sent out by Congress. Now, where do you think the things have gone wrong? Has Congress really committed a kind of a hierarchy, if you may say?
See, I think the delegation, the list of seven MPs, is not even representative of all the political parties. I mean, it's overrepresented by people from the NDA. If you see the list, there's the JDU, there's Shiv Sena, and of course two people from the BJP itself. So first of all, it's absolutely skewed. I mean, if it was supposed to be an all-party, delegation, and should have been representative in some senses, it should have at least had, at least one member from every leading political party. Now, why do I say so? Because I think all the parties, they back the government in its response, let us say, and have also demanded certain answers to an extent. As far as Mr. Tharoor is concerned, I mean, he for some reason has gone out of his way on several occasions to sort of praise the government and to sort of praise the government. I mean, of course, there's no denying that a certain response, was called for, and all the political parties were, I think, one on this, that a certain response had to be sort of given, in terms of what happened at Pahalgam. But then to go overboard and to praise the government in particular, I mean, for various things, in how it sort of presented itself to the nation, how the press conferences, the briefings were conducted to have this semblance of what India stands for. All that is fine. All those optics are really important, I think, and I think the government also did some things right. Did things right in that sense, that it sort of conveyed to the country that we are sort of one on this, in terms of a response. But then there are, several questions that have not been answered also, which also I think political parties have been asking for. For instance, the Congress has been asking for a special session, to discuss this issue. And of course, there is division in the India bloc on this, but then still, I think it's a legitimate demand that an all-party that a special session be held. And in the two all-party briefings, I think all of us know that the PM has not been there. So I think at that special session, the person who heads uh, the government in that sense, would have an opportunity to explain several things. So I think that has been the idea. But Mr. Tharoor has not been asking for a special session of the parliament. He's been talking about other things. I mean, of course, he sort of experienced his own sense. I mean, he's been, external affairs minister. So has Anand Sharma been. So
No, but
have,
would you
yeah.
say, Rajlakshmi, that this is something where Congress has goofed up, or it is BJP which has goofed up? Because everybody is asking the question that all the names which were put forward by Congress obviously didn't have that much expertise when you compare it with the expertise of Dr. Tharoor. So did Congress go wrong there?
I do not think that it is just expertise, because I think Anand Sharma has also been external affairs minister.
Yeah.
Salman Khushi too, I think. So I think they also come with that experience with them, and they've also been in politics for a fairly, I think, long time. So I do not think that they would have been incompetent in that sense to sort of lead the delegation. So why should Mr. Tharoor have the special confidence of the BJP is a little bit of mystery to me, because there are, I'm sure several people in the BJP who might also be wondering why has this
Correct.
person been picked to lead the delegation. He's not only a member, but he's leading the delegation. So why not one
Yeah.
of us, So,
Right.
but I don't think he's going, anywhere. I mean, I think he's not going anywhere. But
Okay.
he's also trying to make his presence felt. I'm there. So
Right.
yes.
But I'll come to Srini sir, and then I'll come to Siddharth. Srini sir, is Congress stunned with this move, or is it BJP which has been stunned? How do we analyze this situation which has erupted with a multi-party delegation, and Tharoor being like at the helm of affairs? So is it a smart move by the BJP, or would you say that it's a Congress's goof up?
Look, it's very clear from the news stories which is coming in the media that the way the ruling regime, tried to manage the fallout of Pahalgam, the narrative hasn't fully gone the way they expected. The first thing is that they wanted to, what is that we wanted to convey? The big message which India wanted to convey was, look, there are terrorists who are being trained on Pakistani soil and constantly being sent to India. And we are now going to punish it because we know that these are all linked to Pakistan, and therefore we are taking a decisive military action. In that sense, we crossed certain red lines, went across, and then we did what we wanted. I think most of India celebrated it. They welcomed this move. The opposition completely backed the ruling party because they didn't want to see anything which goes against national interest. Everybody backed it. But then there were a number of questions which are also came across. Before, as soon as the Pahalgam happened, the question was, what happened to the intelligence? What happened to the claim that Kashmir is a safe place to travel? Post, there are other questions which are asked. Now, why even there was to dismay of even hardcore Hindutva, the question which was not very clear to them, that why there was a sudden ceasefire when we had an upper hand. We seem to be on top of the situation. That is what the messaging from the government is. We would have pulverized all their airports, destroyed most of the air bases from air communication. We were on a pretty good wicket. Then why was the decision taken to suddenly uh, go for a ceasefire? But I'll tell you, this is what the political class must be thinking. But I think the rest of India wanted ceasefire quickly so that there is peace. Nobody wants this war. Nobody is in favor of all this. But then, as a national interest, everybody said that these guys come across from across the border, get trained there, and do all kinds of terror activity, and they should be punished. And therefore, this action is correct. So long as that all went, the narrative was right for the Congress. I think it took a correct decision. It stood with the government. Everything was fine. But then they were actually, their role came post this incident to raise these questions. And that is where it became very crucial for the management of the party and its affairs. And that is where now you're seeing all kinds of action. BJP is very clever. It's trying to fish in troubled water. They know for a fact that Shashi Tharoor is edging, he is actually looking out for a fight. He wants to send a message to his own partymen that, look, you are not giving me the due. And there are inner contradictions within the party. You saw news reports. Somebody, you saw a news report in G File. Jairam Ramesh is trying to pull him down. Venugopal is trying to pull him down. I don't want to take more names. The inner uh, contradiction of Congress party is very well known. The problem with the party is that it has a lot of leaders, a lot of good leaders. It has problem of plenty. In each state, it has number of good leaders, and even in when it reached below 100, when it was above 50, even then it had lots of leaders. It doubly becomes important for the party and especially the high command to manage those talents, to keep them occupied so that this doesn't happen. So I think in that sense, the party has been constantly finding itself, the management finding itself wanting how to, manage these leaders within. And they're all extremely ambitious. If you specifically take Shashi Tharoor's case, he perhaps want to be the next chief minister of Kerala. And if he is one candidate, there are half a dozen other candidates. Whereas on the other side, BJP is still struggling to find a cogent leader in Kerala to lead them. The Tamil Nadu story is different. They don't have any leaders. BJP is struggling. They had one leader whom they have now kind of sidelined. But Congress still have the half a dozen leaders who they may not have enough MLAs, but they have more leaders. And this is a story in almost each and every state. They have produced lots of leaders. And therefore, in situations like this, Congress really gets into a jam. And easily, BJP is trying to manipulate that situation. And why won't BJP do that? Because it wants the narrative to be shifted. It wants to tell it wants to take initiative and tell the world that this is what has happened in our soil and we want to counter it. Who can be a better and more articulate voice than Shashi Tharoor? Shashi Tharoor has served in United Nations. He's kind of a very visible face on the TV channels, acceptable to a lot of, he's a very kind of favored voice, urban, sophisticated, and very popular among women also, which is an added this thing, because the I'm not saying in the negative sense, the women vote is very important. They're also looking for that constancy, reasonable voice he comes across. Who can be a better talent than him?
No, but
Uh,
Shrita, does it look like a possibility where it's becoming increasingly clear that Shashi Tharoor might jump the ship and he might cross over to BJP, or BJP might poach him?
well, I won't be able to say that. I won't go that far to speculate what would he do finally, whether he would jump or he won't jump. But one thing is very clear. BJP is certainly very keen on such urban faces because in Kerala, if they had to fight Kerala, BJP has no face. It'll be very good to go with somebody like Shashi Tharoor. So, see, this is what they have done in other states also. Madhya Pradesh, they have done. They got Jyoti Aditya. In other states, they have done. They go for faces. All these uh, people have, a lot of experience in governance. But what happens to them after they join? See, there is a certain thing which the Congress party has. It has got a lot of talent, but then there are two kinds of talents in that party. One is the governance talent. The other is the political talent. Many of these sophisticated faces you see can at most win their own consensus, but they don't have a mass base. So they are useful for governance. They are smart. They are articulate. They can be a good minister, deputy minister, and all those kind of things. But when it comes to winning elections, many of them are found wanting. Same might apply to Shashi Tharoor. It is not as if Shashi Tharoor is going to win hands down the state for it's a much more complicated state than what they think. So it's not
Right.
going to be just a cakewalk. But then that is a dilemma, because there are a number of other candidates who may have a base but don't have a face value the way Tharoor has. This is a dilemma of Congress party, because also the thing which is happening is, if I take me back slightly, I think it was right when Mahatma Gandhi said that this party should be dissolved, because once the freedom movement, there was a very targeted goal they had. The ideology was very firm, and then it started flaying over the years. And we know, I don't want to go further into history, but their leader Rahul is now trying to get them together to some ideological framework which is opposed to the narrative being of Hindutva built by BJP, and he is trying very hard. I think the leaders, some of these leaders, rather than backing him, are now more keen to see that how they kind of get their own share in the power right now. And this is happening when they're out of power. And God knows what will happen when they come to power. So
Uh,
that is a dilemma of Congress party.
Yeah, no, but one more question, and then I'll go to Siddharth. That Srini sir, what is the purpose of this all-party delegation now? Because Congress constantly has been raising questions on accountability. Congress has been raising questions on ceasefire, the terms and conditions, and with these questions, and they've also asked for a special session of the parliament, like what Rajlakshmi said initially. So, wouldn't it have been better for Congress, to ask the government to clear things back home first, before sending an all party delegation like that abroad? And Congress
You're
hasn't been
right.
so persistent.
Yeah, so
Yes.
you're right. I'll take this question in two parts. The first question is how Congress has dealt with this question, and whether the government is right in sending such a delegation. Okay. So first, let me come to this: whether government is right in sending such a delegation. I think it is very much required, and an all-party delegation certainly sends a very good message. You recall what happened when Vajpayee was sent as a part of a delegation by Narasimha Rao to convince. So I think it's a good move. Why it is necessary? Because I think somewhere the diplomacy. It's also an admission that the diplomacy so far has not managed to do what it should. Even if I don't use the word failure, but I would certainly say that they haven't got what they wanted. The messaging has not been right. Despite Pakistan doing this, what is that today's, what is that United States seems to be more concerned about? It seems to be, whether in IMF or whether in any other forum, they seem to be kind of backing Pakistan. See, China is openly backing, but US kind of bracketed us back with Pakistan, despite such a bonhomie with personal bonhomie Prime Minister Narendra Modi, enjoyed with President Trump. So we are not getting those benefits. On the other hand, the narrative of Pakistan that they have done something brilliantly in the war field, that there's something which they could take on with their Chinese, aircraft, and they could take on Indian piloted European aircraft, Rafale, that has become a bigger issue. That is of a bigger interest for international media than the terrorism on the borders. They don't seem to be worried about the fact that people have come here, and Pakistan is the same state which has been keeping and hiding. They had this Osama in their backyard. They seem to have forgotten all that. The whole world backed the United States in their war against terror, but something of that nature happens in India. They don't seem to be focused on that. There is something else which seems to be playing on their mind. Like I said yesterday in another discussion, that maybe the defense industrial complex is so big, and there is so much money, that the entire world is focusing on that, leaving behind terror. So it is important that India sends out a delegation, a joint delegation to the world, tell each and every capital that what is happening here is not right. I think in that sense it is correct. But then coming to your other part of the question, whether the Congress party has managed to uh, put its house in order, and whether Shashi Tharoor should have, I think that's a question you want to ask, whether Shashi Tharoor should have accepted. Uh, See,
Yes.
the way it has panned out, you know, the moment, this is told to me by our reporter, our political editor, that the call came directly to Shashi Tharoor. It wasn't routed through the party president, Kharge. I think, and a junior minister called up and wanted a confirmation.
Yes.
Ideally,
No,
what should have happened? A
but
party
if
should
you,
have been
if you
approached
talk,
formally.
Shri sir, but if you talk about Congress's strategy, because it was Congress's idea earlier to send these kind of all-party delegations, starting with 1994 when Narasimha Rao was at the helm of affairs. So has Congress not been able to own up this idea this time? And because now the entire story has turned around, why Tharoor was named by Congress?
Yeah, so the thing here is, that's what I'm saying. The initiative has been snatched by BJP. Congress response has been found wanting. Even if they had found that okay, they have the BJP has approached Kharge immediately when he was approached. He said, "Yeah, it's a good issue. We will back. We will support the government." But on the same spirit, they could have insisted that, okay, it's good that we want to take the international audience into confidence. Why won't we start first with India? The first step could be the Prime Minister could take all of us into confidence. He can,
Yes.
you know, he can brief us, call for an all party meeting. We're willing for that. We will listen to what he says. We'll take his ideas abroad. All of us will go together. Something of that formulation could have also come from Congress party. And then said, yeah, we are willing to go for that, but why don't you call for a special session of the parliament before that? Let us discuss it. Let's tell your own people. Let's tell our own parliament, and we can go. I don't
Right.
think, I'm not sure whether any such proposal was made. At least I haven't read about it. I haven't heard about it. So
Right.
there was a way in which they could have managed. I mean, really, the Congress party should be able to answer all these questions.
Yeah. But another question which is being raised on the social media is that why did the party not think of sending Rahul Gandhi, as part of the list which was sent out? That is also another question which people are raising. In fact, I read a story in Telegraph that it really puts Congress in a spot, Siddharth. Rahul Gandhi or maybe Mallikarjun Kharge also could have been part of that multi-party delegation, but deliberately probably they opted out or chose not to put themselves in the list.
Uh, well, I think the Shashi Tharoor saga is only part of a larger story. It's just a chapter in a larger story that very clearly proves the unraveling of entire BJP's narrative, ideology, as well as policies in the last 3 weeks or so. Last 3 weeks have seen a big twist in Indian politics. The opposition, once called traitors by the BJP, mocked with labels like 50 crore ki girlfriend, is suddenly today needed. Why is it needed? This is a story of BJP's desperation, of their realization of their own limitations, of their own surrender. This story has got four main characters. One is the BJP, the other is Mr. Jaishankar, the third is Tharoor, and the fourth is the Congress itself. Jaishankar and Tharoor, as we all know, both are from South India. Both started as diplomats, not as politicians. Uh, in fact, Shashi Tharoor joined Congress only in 2009. Before that, he was the Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations. He even fought the United Nations Secretary General's post. As we know, Jaishankar was a career diplomat. He was a Foreign Secretary of India. He was the ambassador to US as well as China. So both of them were diplomats first, and they became politicians later. So Jaishankar, as of today, is our foreign minister. Why we have to understand that Tharoor also chairs the Parliamentary Foreign Affairs Committee in this Lok Sabha. So technically, he also heads a committee, constitutional body. Now, the interesting thing here is that both of them are not in the main squad of either BJP or Congress. They are being used like impact players in the IPL, brought in only for big moments. Now, this is a story about onion peel moment of the famed Vishwaguru model that BJP has been projecting. And here is how it unfolded. First, after Pahalgam, the Home Minister admitted a mistake. That is a rare surrender, but it is a surrender. The second, the BJP government itself admitted that things were out of control. They outsourced the entire response to the army, giving it a free hand, and the army started Operation Sindoor. Now, interestingly, within all these things, The RSS also within this all this midst understood that the narrative is falling off from their grid, and they stepped back when they agreed that to a caste census of India. That is a very strange thing to happen in the midst of all this. Now Modi's image took the largest hit when, despite the army having POK and Akhand Bharat in its grasp, India accepted Trump's ceasefire. So basically, what the army had gained for India, instead of capitalizing on it, Mr. Modi capitulated in front of Trump. So that was the biggest hit of Modi's image. And finally, the entire BJP ecosystem has gone onto the back foot now. They've been rattled by Trump's trolls so much that they are turning to the same opposition they once called traitors to represent India globally today. So essentially, after the ceasefire mess, the BJP has realized that Jaishankar's 6-year Vishwaguru pitch that he has been giving away, the hard Hindutva, hardline Hindutva, aggressive Hindutva Vishwaguru pitch that he was pitching, not just in India. In India, if BJP was pitching for 400 par, Mr. Jaishankar was pitching for Vishwaguru India across the world. So that has flopped globally. I think the BJP has realized it. Now in an all-party team with Tharoor as the key player, and remember, he is a former UN big shot. This is BJP is trying to tell the world that India is no more a Vishwaguru but a victim of terrorism. That's the story. That's the unraveling of the Vishwaguru delusion that the BJP had thrown, with Mr. Jaishankar being the face. So this hardline Hindutva that BJP took, if it might have benefited it domestically in Indian politics, but this essentially did not cut ice with globally. That is why, even though Osama bin Laden is found in Pakistan, even though India started the entire operation after Pahalgam, where terrorists killed innocent people, the world saw it. In fact, the world also condoled it. World kind of empathized with India that this kind of terrorism has happened. India started off with attacking the terror bases of Pakistan. In spite of all this, if globally today the entire world is saying that because these two are nuclear powers, let them not fight, let them sit together. And on 10th May at 10:30 a.m., when the Indian army, Colonel Sophia Qureshi, she had essentially said that we had broken the back of a terrorist nation called Pakistan. By 5 o'clock in the evening, just 7 hours later, how come the government of India accepts a ceasefire by Trump, in which he clearly states Pakistan is a great nation? So how can a nation which was a terrorist in my eyes at 10:30 in the morning become a great nation at 5 in the evening just because Mr. Trump thought so? So this is the BJP's fall from Vishwaguru grandiose to accepting the reality of geopolitics. This is as simple as that. Now within this framework, I think Mr. Tharoor is benefiting from the fact that he has a certain international experience. BJP is short of bench strength. So since Tharoor has that experience and BJP needs him, both are using each other. I don't think the Congress is, although Congress might have miscalculated it, but Congress will take credit for it because technically Mr. Tharoor is a congressman. So if things go right in the international fora, where if Mr. Tharoor through his eloquence, he is able to explain and convince a few nations that yes, India has been a target of terror, that India has been a victim of terror. That is what the brief says. That is what the
Right.
government's brief says.
Siddharth, you're right when you say that both the Modi government and Tharoor, they are both using each other, both need each other at this point of time. But my question to Raj Lakshmi is, and I'll come for the final round of questions very briefly, Raj Lakshmi, that what happens now? I mean, this multi-party delegation, because the opposition is supposed to be asking for accountability about the terms and conditions of the ceasefire. And now with this multi-party delegation going for a global outreach, will it really take the winds out of the sails of the opposition? Because how will opposition now demand for accountability? Because here you will have certain Congress leaders going and for a global outreach, and back home you will have to the domestic audience, you will have something else to say. So does it put the opposition in a bind?
See, I think there are more than one signals that the government is seeking to convey. See, the first thing is to convey to the world that we are all united on this, and therefore we have this delegation. So saying that despite all the fighting that we do inside the country, and all the various inter political party, or I mean whatever differences and contradictions that we have. But on this, we are, united, and therefore we are sending an all-party delegation for an outreach. So I think that's the first signal. Now the question is, if the terms of reference, of what is going to be spoken at the outreach, have they been discussed at all at an all-party meeting? Because ultimately it has to come from an all-party meeting, isn't it? And somebody high up there has to brief everybody about the TOR, and that's how you take, political parties into confidence. You do not take political parties into confidence by breaking a key leader from that party and making him the team of your delegation, and you expect and you expect that they would accept it. That is one thing is not really right in that approach. That approach is not right, I think. And then the other thing being, clearly the government has failed, despite its I mean, again, whether to say failed is a strong word or not, it has not been able to, let's say, convince the global community out there that its actions were in fact required, and that those particular actions were required at that particular time, and that a ceasefire had to be called for whatever reason, right? Now, no, it has not been able to convince, whether I mean, it had to abstain at the time of the IMF, loan voting. It had to abstain. It couldn't do anything because nobody else objected to it. So it's not been able to, I think, I mean, I think, despite, in fact, the PM's own outreach, own global outreach that he's been undertaking all these years. He's traversed the entire world, probably, I think, multiple times. Sort of meeting people, individually, and sort of uh, having a certain, bohemi, at a very individual level. But somehow when it comes to convincing the world that we had to undertake this kind of a response, it has not been able to do so. So there is something, again, not right here. But the first convincing has to be done, within your country, within your yeah, and among
Absolutely.
your political
I mean,
party.
first the convincing has to be done back home. You're
Exactly.
right, absolutely,
Yeah.
Raj Lakshmi. But Shri sir, do you think the BJP has succeeded in a way in diverting the attention from accountability, from the failures, which seemingly had appeared after this Operation Sindoor? So now this multi-party delegation obviously will take away the attention totally. So in a way, BJP has played a smart game.
Well, I think the issues are much deeper than news management for a couple of days, So they would maybe be able to manage headlines for a few days. But I think the whole conflict has taken, people are really concerned about these issues, and it's not going to go away so easily. The question really is that it's not just about Shashi Tharoor as a personality, it's how Congress party would manage a situation like this, which is a kind of a gauntlet thrown by ruling party at Congress by getting this guy. So there are two ways to deal with this. I mean, I don't have an inside information to suggest what is the stage of Shashi Tharoor's engagement with the Congress party. I mean, his rebellion is at what stage we really don't know. That the party should be able to assess. And if they think that, look, he just uh, positioning himself for a certain reward, I think it's a good opportunity to say that, okay, he's our, you have chosen it. He could have been called aside and then said, what you have done is not right, but still, he's a he's very articulate and can actually go abroad and express India's point of view very cogently, and as a leader of the delegation and also as a parliamentary committee chief, he's most suitable for this post. So for this kind of project, so he can certainly carry it forward. So Congress party could have said that, okay, we are also sending you other foreign ministers we had, So Anand Sharma has been in that portfolio. There are other, Manish Tiwari is very articulate. They can suggest, Salman Khurshid is very articulate. They can suggest a team of people from the Congress party and then claim very well that, look, we have managed to put together this strong team and put across the point of view. And then it's really the questions which should be asked within the party forum to Shashi Tharoor also. The question is here that what is the role of the opposition? Role of the opposition is to call government to account on, power to account on issues like this, where a certain decision has been taken, and if it hasn't been fully in the national interest, they have all the right to ask the questions. What it appears from the various statements emanating from Shashi Tharoor is he's more than keen to be giving certificates, whether it is to Prime Minister or whether it is to Foreign Minister. He seemed to be more keen on that. So obviously, he seemed to be more than keen to go and join that. So it's a way the party actually decides on how to manage him, yet keep the narrative within their fold and send across a message that, look, domestically we are raising this question, but when it comes to global, we are presenting a joint face, and we are with the nation on this. I think this is the and Congress is it's a old party. It's the oldest party in power. I mean, they should be knowing this better, how to manage the situation rather than making a spectacle, in the media. So they have a chance, but they should manage it well.
Yeah, and the most surprising thing is that in the CWC meeting, there was a remark that Shashi Tharoor is crossing the Lakshman Rekha, and just one day later, he gets picked by the BJP for this multi-party delegation. So, coming on the Tharoor question, because multi-party we've discussed a lot. So, Siddharth, over to you for the last comment on Shashi Tharoor. Which side of the fence is he on actually right now? How do we judge? And what is really happening? Like Srinisa said, we do not know the level of engagement or the level of dissonance, as far as the Congress and Tharoor are concerned. So where do we see Tharoor right now?
Yeah, before Tharoor, before Tharoor, this thing, as Srini sir said, is beyond brownie points. It is beyond BJP's headline management, BJP's brand image that has taken a beating domestically and internationally. Cannot be just made up by putting in Tharoor. But for Tharoor himself, because he is batting on his home pitch, international affairs is his home pitch. So right now, because he is on his home pitch, I think he will perform well. But this, let's understand, when he is going to go as a delegation to an international forum, he is not going to meet the president of a country, and after the meeting, the president of the country comes out and says that till yesterday I was wrong, from today I am going to criticize Pakistan. It is not going to happen that way. It's a process. So this is about global actions, whether they are pro India, whether they are anti India, or whether they are ignoring India. Now, even if Mr. Tharoor has a successful campaign, that global action will not be seen overnight. Because it will not be seen overnight, this will not benefit BJP in any way. But it will benefit, and the second casualty here will be Mr. Jaishankar, because Mr. Jaishankar's Vishwaguru image has taken a total beating, and that is why one impact player of yours has not performed. That is why BJP has poached an impact player from another team and making him the impact player. So Mr. Jaishankar is also, now his brownie points are gone. BJP's brownie points are gone. Shashi Tharoor, obviously, because he's batting on his home pitch, he's going to do well. And Congress will then come in and take credit that, boss, this is our guy who at least made sure that he saved the face of India where the government of India could not do. So I think Congress and Shashi Tharoor will benefit, and BJP and Mr. Jaishankar will lose out in this entire saga.
In fact, what you're saying, Kerala Congress has already put out a tweet saying that, look, BJP didn't have any leader, but they had to depend on our talent. This is what Kerala Congress has already put out. But you were talking about S. Jaishankar, and on a lighter note, I'm hearing that before Bihar elections, there is an impending cabinet reshuffle. So who knows? S. Jaishankar might be out and Shashi Tharoor might be in. Nobody knows that. It could be a big surprise. So we'll have to end it here. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much, Srinisa, Siddharth, Rajlakshmi. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.